So Manatee County commissioners are giving phosphate giant Mosaic the thumbs up to expand its mining operation in Manatee County. Is that it? It will be at least a year before Mosaic can start mining on 3,600 acres at its Wingate mine. The county commission is requiring the company to revise some aspects of its plan. Opponents might file suit, and the company still needs the okay from the Army Corps of Engineers and other agencies. So did Mosaic satisfy nervous residents? And if not, what comes next? Joining us for more is Andy Melee of Suncoast Waterkeepers and Christy Wells Simpson, who lives near the Mosaic sinkhole in Hillsborough County. And it's important to note that we asked both Mosaic and a representative from the County Commission to join us. Mosaic did not respond, and the County Commission spokesman told us there is a 30-day period during which commissioners are advised by the county attorney not to comment on the mining proposal. Still, we appreciate you both for joining us here. Andy, you followed these hearings very closely over the last couple of days, weeks, and months. Mosaic did put in quite an effort to try to satisfy both commissioners and residents that it is safe and that they will do a good job in terms of restoring the property to wildlife status when they're done.
The problem is nobody believes Mosaic anymore. The only people who believe Mosaic are those 5 commissioners and all the suits who are paid to believe it.
There were some residents
there were a couple
who
of residents
that spoke up for them and said that that Mosaic has been a good neighbor.
Yeah, Mosaic did a study some years ago to find out what the public's perception of it was, of phosphate mining was. They found there was no public perception, so they decided to write the book. And that's why they've been doing these ads with leafy trees and beautiful endangered species and, you know, attractive girls in hard hats. We create jobs, we feed the world, all that kind of. They've been building public opinion. The fact is, though, that the track record is not there. They at the final hearing the other day, just yesterday, they were asked by Commissioner Smith what the percentage of reclaimed and signed off released lands were in Manatee County. And a total of something like 17,000 acres. There were, I think it was in double digits. It was like 67, or you know, it was less than 100 acres that had been reclaimed and released by the FDEP. And released doesn't mean that the land is rescued and saved. It means that it's just showing signs.
Of course, this hearing was supposed to take place last fall, but as we all know, that incredible sinkhole opened up in Polk County at Mosaic's facility there, and hundreds of millions of gallons of slightly radioactive water went into the aquifer. Christy, you live nearby. If you could explain for a moment, you do live in Hillsborough County near the Polk County line?
Right. The New Wells plant is on the Hillsborough County line. So water flows west, and I am exactly west, about 5 to 6 miles from that plant.
What did you experience? I mean, we all saw those incredible aerial views of that giant sinkhole, and we both followed what Mosaic was saying about whether the water system was affected by it. What did you and your family experience?
At first, the water would just smell like the house water would just have this weird smell, and it kind of smelled like, we would describe it as perm, like you'd walk into a hair salon, somebody getting a perm mixed with sulfur. And then as time went on, it started to smell like fuel. And I had my own mother came over and I'm like, what do you smell? And she said, I smell turpentine or kerosene. And I literally, it takes your breath away. So if you were to lean down and smell it, it's like a natural reaction of the oxygen being taken away, and you gag.
Right, but both the company and environmental officials said that in the end this did not affect the aquifer, and they insist that the public was in no way in danger. Do you take both the company and the state at its word?
Absolutely not. I mean, even in our area, all the water flows downward, and it goes to Lithia Springs. That is a known thing, and so Lithia Springs floods. The area, the houses are flooded over there, and it was closed down 3 days after the sinkhole, and then closed down for about 5 or 6 weeks. But of course, it wasn't unrelated to that. They said the water levels were high. Well, I have pictures, and the water levels are low. The hurricane that came through near that time was way on the other side of Florida and other counties. It didn't affect us at all.
Obviously, and the hearings were pushed back from the fall until now. The company says that there were other reasons for the delay, but it seems that a good deal of time was put in between that incident and the hearings in Manatee County. And if that had an impact on public opinion and public servants, it was not apparent in terms of the results of this commission meeting.
I think you could have had people at the gates of the county office building with torches and pitchforks calling for the king's head, and they still would have voted that way. They were under instruction. The system and the process do not protect public health and safety in the environment. They just don't. The comp plan doesn't protect it, and the mining ordinance does not protect it. They're so full of loopholes that virtually anything can get through, and the process is that, you know, by working for years with county staff on our dime, Mosaic is able to dot the I's and cross the T's so that every single legal avenue is foreclosed, and they have to approve.
I want to get more into that in our second segment, but we are just getting started with our discussion of Mosaic's phosphate mining operations in Manatee County, and our discussion will continue right after we check on the weather. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are discussing Mosaic's mining operation in Manatee County. After months of controversy, the County Commission approved a rezoning request for the Wingate East property last night. Our guests tonight are Andy Mealy of Suncoast Waterkeepers and Christy Wells Simpson, who lives near Mosaic's Mulberry facility. We also want to note again that we invited Mosaic and the county to have a representative tonight. Our requests were not answered. The county said that commissioners have been advised to wait 30 days before making a public comment about that. So, Andy, I want to get back to something that you started saying before, that you felt that opponents really never had much of a shot here. And on one hand, I'm wondering if you agree, it's understandable from the point of view that the assistant county attorney said a total denial outright, that could be a tough case for us to defend, because years ago when Mosaic wanted to expand the mining operation and the county denied that request, Mosaic filed a $617.8 million lawsuit. So aren't county commissioners just protecting the financial interests of Manatee County residents?
The Florida Constitution holds that elected public servants are serving in the public interest. So it depends on how you twist that. To me, nothing trumps health and safety in the environment. That's what we all depend on. If they got sued once, the likelihood that that suit would have succeeded is minimal. We had testimony to that effect.
But the legal bills that it would incur,
the legal bills would be formidable, yes. But Attorney Clegg himself said that they have an in-house team that is one of the best in the business to deal with property rights litigation. They don't have to go get expensive, outside legal help.
Now, Christy, we've all seen on watching television that Mosaic makes a substantial effort to get across to residents in Manatee County and across the Tampa Bay area that it is a good citizen, that they take care of these areas after mining operations are over with. You live in the area where those mining operations are. What do you see? What do you hear?
The local elementary school, Pinecrest Elementary on the corner, has a Mosaic sign underneath it, on their front sign. I remember going to the Rays game and seeing a Mosaic banner, and I'm going, why would they advertise? Because we don't go to Mosaic and buy anything. And then all of a sudden you see all these commercials about how they're giving back to the community and these cute little animals, and I'm going, why are they telling us this? And so I was telling everybody, isn't this suspicious? Why are they trying to create this whole, perception of them when they have nothing to do with it? We're not going to buy anything from them. Like, what is their purpose? So I knew there had to be an ulterior motive.
Andy, I'm wondering what you think when Mosaic says that after it's done with its mining operations, they restore the area, they create additional conservation area, and they've bought other properties to preserve wildlife and wetlands, that it does a good thing, and that in the end, it's a net plus for our community and not a net minus.
If you look at everything, you do a cost-benefit analysis, which I have done, phosphate mining is a net loss to the state and to the people of the counties and the region. there is the profits leave because it's a privately held, publicly held company. Profits leave, product leaves, the wealth of the land leaves, and all the sustainable jobs that were on that agricultural land are foreclosed. The black eye given to the region from a tourism perspective is there. So you can measure diminished returns from tourism revenue. You can also measure diminished returns on property values.
So what happens now? Obviously, there are 30 days where somebody could file a suit to try to stop this. Is your organization going to take part in that? What do you hear? How likely is that to happen?
I'm sitting here talking to you, so I'm already compromising our ability to take action anyhow. I'd love to. I would love to see an appeal, and there should be an appeal, and there may be an appeal. And I will certainly support one if it materializes.
We also reported that a number of agencies still have to give this the okay, including the Army Corps of Engineers. Do you have any confidence, whether it's the state or the federal government, that any of these agencies would stop it? Well,
the state gives the permit rubber stamp just right off the bat. You just throw something at FDEP and they rubber stamp it and you're good to go. The county's a little bit harder. But the Corps of Engineers, Suncoast Waterkeeper, my group, and 3 others are involved in litigation with the Army Corps of Engineers over the issuance of these Clean Water Act Section 404 permits.
Well, the question that comes from that is obviously that there is a new sheriff in town in Washington, and a different view at the EPA and other federal government regulatory agencies. So if it was an uphill battle to begin with, is the mountain that much higher now?
Sure, but you can't, that's no reason to just give up and roll over and play dead. You know, there's people at stake. We're hearing reports of illnesses all over the areas where they have phosphogypsum stacks and chemical plants. This is something that hasn't even been approached yet.
Right, but it is true that the waste from the mining operation in Manatee County is going to be handled differently than it is in Hillsborough and Polk counties. The gypsum stacks that were created by the operations in Polk County will not be created here. Right?
They're not going to be created in Manatee County, but guess where the waste from Manatee County is going to go?
Christie's Way.
Christie's Way, exactly.
And Mosaic openly stated to the commissioners, Manatee commissioners stated, well, are we going to have sinkholes here like they did over in New Wells? And they said, oh no, your land, your thickness of your soil and land is about 200 or 300 feet. And over in New Wells, it's as thin as 80 feet in places. And then they said, and where are you going to take our waste to? And they said, the New Wells plant.
And that plant has 4 sinkholes.
Yeah. 4
sinkholes,
right,
including one that was down there for 6 years, leaking processed water, leaking contaminated water, unknown, unreported to this day. This is the first anybody's heard of it. It's in black and white in the primary source documents taken off the FDEP website. 47 million gallons over 6 years going into the intermediate aquifer, which is where everybody's wells are.
You know, I got to say one more time that I really wish that Mosaic took part in this broadcast, because it's important to have both sides represented. And if Mosaic had any contrary points of view in terms of what we're talking about here, it would be worthwhile for our viewers to avail themselves of it, because we have seen when it comes to the sinkhole out in Polk County that sometimes there is misreporting of it, and then that happened just last week. So it's important for people who live, whether it's near the Polk County mine or in Manatee County, to get accurate information from both sides.
Sure, there's no question about that. Certainly give you that. Yeah, it would be good to have them here. It'd be good to look them in the eye. They will only talk from a controllable perspective, a perspective they can actually control. In other words, their own paid advertising is the dispensing of small sums of cash to local institutions and stuff like that.
Christy,
that's their milieu.
How closely did you follow the commission hearings in Manatee County? Did you come out and try to tell commissioners what you experienced and the concerns that you have?
Yes, I spoke at the hearing, and I went to every single one, all 3, because I got spread out over 3 days, and I went to every single one and I followed it closely. The thing to me is that, obviously, like you said, it's a whole legal perspective of, are they going to be sued? So are they looking out for their citizens, the best interest, because could this be an expensive legal battle? And the only reason that you can deny it, it appeared to me from my limited knowledge of it, is that there has to be overriding public benefit. And why isn't water, clean water for the citizens, an overriding public benefit? Case closed. Why are we even here? It just seemed like there was no common sense, because our water supply has decreased drastically. And Commissioner DiSabatino, she said that it's been announced we're going to have a water shortage about 2030, so that's, what, 13 years away?
Well, I guess my question is, when you were speaking to the commission, did you have the impression that they were really listening to what you were saying and taking seriously what you have already experienced?
I think that it was definitely weighing on their consciousness, and they had repeated, I don't know if they had stated things like, I don't know if I can live with taking our waste and dumping it to our other communities and to the neighbors' backyard and contaminating them, you know, especially where there's all these sinkholes. It's going into the aquifer.
And they said, but we're not allowed to consider that.
But we're not allowed to consider that. We have to only consider our county.
Wonderful. All right, let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have final thoughts from our guests, plus what some of our viewers are saying about the state of the Florida citrus industry. Stay with us. Welcome back. The clock is ticking. Opponents of the Wingate East Mine phosphate plant in Manatee County have 30 days to challenge a rezoning request by the county commission. What can we expect to happen next? And our guests join us right now for final thoughts. Christy, you have lived this experience. You have spoken to the Manatee County Commission. You live near the Polk County facility. What would you like to say to people in Manatee County who live near the Wingate East facility in terms of what to experience, and what would you like to see happen?
I've heard over and over during the hearing that until they want to give Mosaic a chance to see if they can really reclaim these lands and prove themselves, then they'll let them mine these other areas. Why not look at Hillsborough County and and Bartow, Mulberry, what has already happened? These lands, you know, they might temporarily test okay for low radium levels, but they put soil over the contaminants and they leach and they grow, just like the Love Canal in New Jersey, or I'm sorry, New York. And so as this grows and gets stronger and stronger, it's coming up. And so this is failing. There's no scientific proof.
But you still live in the area around that plant?
Yes.
Why?
Because this is all new and I'm trying to figure out what to do. I take showers with gallons of water. I have gallons of water everywhere. We boil with gallons of water.
Andy, what is next in terms of residents and environmentalists who still oppose this?
We need to have, well, in government, we need to have people stand up for the people. We need to have an FDEP that has the guts to say, okay, we are not going to issue this permit. We're going to let the permit at least go off automatically after 60 days, but we're not going to sign it. We're just going to we're going to let it go into default as a statement.
How likely is that to happen, given the?
Not very likely. And then we need to, because phosphate mining now has a very public profile in these counties, we need to run some good candidates for county commission and get these people out of there. I think we can run people on a no phosphate platform. I think it's that important to the people.
Okay. Mosaic, County Commission, wish you were here. We'd love to have heard what you had to say. But before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers are saying about last night's topic, the citrus industry. It accounts for nearly $9 billion in annual revenue for Florida, but recently growers have been struggling. Trees are taking a beating from record heat, low rainfall totals, and citrus greening disease. We asked you what you think, and Donna Patrick writes, prices will be scary. I love citrus. Nina Powers writes, climate change seems to be disrupting long-standing weather patterns that are negatively impacting Florida citrus. Such a shame for our iconic citrus trees. Hope they will adapt. Love orange juice. And Karen Oser writes, but there is no such thing as climate change. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation about tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. And FYI, want to watch past Roundtable discussions? They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Thanks to our guests for being here tonight. Andy Mealy is with Suncoast Waterkeepers, and Christy Wells Simpson lives near a Mosaic facility in Hillsborough County.